What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Full Circle podcast. My name is Mariah Rose, and I'm here with none other than the birthday baddie, Miss Lexie Brown.
Hey, girl. Yes, it is my birthday. I feel like I'm not really a real adult because I was like, do we have to do this today? Like, if I had a job, I'd be like, can I stay home? It's my birthday. I just want to be with myself and enjoy my birthday. But that's not how life works. So here we are, recording on this beautiful Monday for you guys on my birthday. I'm 31.
Oh my gosh, girl.
31.
Ain't it a beautiful thing to be Black? Wow. Yeah. You look like you're in your 20s.
A man yesterday told me that. He asked me if I was 19, which I was like, don't know about that.
No, you could pass. If you throw on your Duke uniform right now, you could pass like you're in college.
Sure.
I'm so serious.
100%.
And I'm not glazing.
100%. I'm not glazing. I appreciate that. But yes, guys, we are here today to give you a little bit of a hot topic as of late has been about the coaching in the WNBA. So today we're really, the whole episode, what's going on with the coaches in the W, the new hires. We're going to introduce them to y'all if you are not familiar with some of the new coaches that have been hired. There's still one vacancy for the New York Liberty. They have yet to hire a head coach, but we will get into that a little bit later. So,
well, I guess we should, before we dive in, I think we should get into your reaction to your new coach in Seattle, because when I saw that, I wanted to talk to you about it. But how are you feeling? What do you think is going to be different? And introduce us to Sonia.
So I had no idea who they were going to hire. So before we start, I had no input in this. I had no conversation. All I knew is that they were going to make a hire before the end of the month, which is what they did. She was an assistant with the Liberty, and prior to that, she was on the Memphis Grizzlies coaching staff. And for me, that makes me excited because y'all know I'm like an NBA junkie. And I think as far as coaching and analytics and player development, I think the NBA is way ahead of us, unfortunately, because they just have more resources than we've ever had. And we're getting there. But the fact that we're now attracting NBA coaches to the W, I think that's really good for us. So I haven't had a chance to talk to her yet, but our GM, she reached out to me when the news broke, and she said that she's really excited for me to speak with her and meet her eventually. So I don't really know much about her as far as who she is personally, but her resume is super impressive. She was a head coach at MIT. So hopefully, she can appreciate the fact that I went to a school like Duke. She was at MIT. Not saying that we're at MIT's level, but you can appreciate the education, background between the both of us.
Smart girls.
So I'm really excited. Also excited because it is a woman of color. So, that's also been a really big topic of conversation around the W, is why we don't have, more women of color in head coaching positions. So the fact that we were able to hire one is definitely super special.
Sorry, y'all, we had some audio issues, so that's why I sounded probably like a whisper. Did it sound like Mariah? Damn near.
I was like, these stupid headphones.
So yeah, sorry guys. But yeah, we hired Sonia, very excited. And yeah, again, it's very interesting hiring a coach when any of these coaches, when you don't really know who's going to be on your team. That goes for all of the new coaches outside of Dallas, who probably will keep that young group together. Hopefully, I would like them to, but it's not my team. Outside of Dallas, every team that hired a new coach is either an expansion team or just has a team full of unrestricted free agents. So I think it's going to be cool seeing these new coaches come in. Basically, they get to build a team. That's not a thing. Usually when you get hired, you have to inherit what you got and deal with what you got. And then you make the changes over time. They get to come into these head coaching positions with a blank slate. And that's, like I said last week about everybody being a free agent, that's never happened before. I keep telling y'all the WNBA is hard resetting right now. This would be the optimal time to become a head coach. For me, I get to handpick my team. top to bottom, damn near.
That's really good. And especially because we have from research, like you guys are in the middle of a mini rebuild coming off of last season and going into next season, but every team is in the middle of a mini rebuild right now.
So it really depends. Like, it really depends on what direction teams want to go. I also want to
add that she's the first Indian American female head coach in the WNBA. So I knew when you were saying that she was woman color, I was like, there was something historic about that, but that is what that is. So congratulations to her. That's so exciting.
No, I'm so excited. I'm really excited who she's going to bring in as her staff. Honestly, and I'm saying this, like, I do want to be in Seattle, guys. Like, I loved my teammates. Like, I love playing with Dom. Like, I know Dom is the future of the Seattle Storm. Like, that's just point blank period. Dom is the future. And I really, really enjoyed playing basketball with Dominique. So if it was up to me, like that's where I want to be. I want to be there for her growth. I want to help her become super dominant in the W. So I am speaking about this coach and this coaching staff from a perspective of me possibly being in Seattle. Like, I'm not going to act like I'm like, oh, I could be anywhere, Like, I know where I want to be. And sometimes you just kind of, it's hard to prepare for every off season, like not knowing. So, I'm just going to prepare like I'll be in Seattle and be really excited about that hire. But I have no idea what direction she's going to go in as far as her staff, player development, assistant coaches, all of these things. So I think that for me, I really enjoy playing with younger players as well. And I do, sometimes I feel like I get treated like I'm a younger player because I've just been in and out and like, I haven't really had a moment to be like one of those like big name vets. So I kind of get grouped with like the young players, especially this past season. But for me, it's great. It's a great experience. I think that this season in particular tested my leadership and my maturity as far as, having so many young players looking at me like, dang, like I know she's not happy with what's going on, but like how is she going to continue and act like a pro and be a pro? So if we're in rebuild mode, I'm all in on that. Like I think that could be a fun opportunity for me. I think it could be a fun opportunity for us. But like we said, like she has hundreds of players to choose from to handpick this team. So it's going to be interesting.
Also, I read that she came from working with the Liberty, and a lot of people thought that she was going to coach them. I'm curious. I don't understand what's going on with that coaching job. I don't know if you've heard anything or if you have any opinions or thoughts, but that's crazy to me.
I think every team, it's going to be interesting to see what direction they go in. But because they won just 2 years ago, like, are they going to try and keep that group together and try win another one? Or is everyone going to go their separate ways and try and win on their own? And again, I had no input into this coaching hire. I wonder if any of the players over there are having any type of conversations or input about who they're bringing in. I don't know. I mean, the GM of the Liberty, he was very adamant of putting Sabrina in situations to be successful and efficient and back to her level of play from 2 seasons ago. Not that she had a bad season this year, but as far as like her shooting percentages, it was something that we weren't used to seeing. And I think they're going to bring in a coach that's going to prioritize outside shooting and Sabrina. And I don't know who that's going to be. I have no idea. The fact that they haven't hired anybody yet is actually kind of crazy. The fact that Sandy got fired was also crazy. So I think everybody's just sitting, waiting to see what the Liberty do. But I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about it.
Well, before we get to this next job, I'm curious, from your perspective being a WNBA player, I know in the NBA, typically when there's a coaching situation, whether it's the coach got fired and they're looking for a new coach or whatever the case may be, star player is always star player. What do they want? Who are they looking at? Giannis in Milwaukee, they're constantly being like, oh, he's like constantly switching coaches and he's handpicking this guy and he doesn't like that guy. Is that similar in the W? Are the GMs, the front office, asking their stars, hey, what do you think? Based on what you know.
I honestly have no idea. I do know, like, in LA, and I'm not saying that I was a star by any means. Obviously, I wasn't. But in our exit meetings, we have our conversations. And I straight up was like, I would really appreciate for you guys to not fire Kurt. Like, And I wasn't the only player who said that, and they fired him anyway. So I think that they do value our opinions to a point. But like, as far as like actual decision making, I wouldn't know anything about that because no one has ever had really valued my opinion that much to where it affected or influenced a real decision like that. And also, you don't see like coaches getting fired so frequently like they do in the NBA. Like I said last week, like coaches don't like getting fired mid-season. Like that's not a thing. Having 3-4 coaches with one disgruntled star, like that's not a thing in the WNBA. So I don't really know how. For now, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like everything could be so different now. And I'm like really excited about it. But I'm also like, are we ready for this dramatic change? Because I mean, you can see it like the way the coverage is, the fans, the conversation surrounding the league, like everything is just magnified. And I just want us as a league, us as players to be prepared for all of that. Because with, money and influence and attention, like that comes with a lot of other stuff that might catch some people off guard. But I mean, we're all grown, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
I'm also curious with the new CBA I just see some correlation here between owners, front offices making these sort of decisions and not necessarily consoling their players, which is not just what I've heard from you, but a basis of what I've been hearing. And giving you guys that revenue share / more money would put them in a position to where they do have to answer to you more as players because you're being invested in more as part of the league. And if you're investing a certain share of your revenue and you're a star player just alone, not even mentioning the rest of the roster, and you fire a coach they really love or you hire a coach they really don't want and they're unhappy, that becomes a much bigger issue. So I'm curious to see with the new CBA, and if you guys do get that revenue share, which I think you will, and I'm hoping you do, that if that happens, maybe it will be more of a coaching carousel because the star player will have more of a say.
I think, and it's so interesting that you bring up that point because I do feel like it is a power struggle happening right now. Like I feel like for so many years, we've just been like a mini tiny blip of part of the WNBA ecosystem, which is crazy because the WNBA wouldn't exist without the players that play in it. And we've just been like just buried under all of this money, and you lose money and no one wants to see y'all. No one wants to watch y'all. Y'all aren't marketable. Y'all aren't this. Y'all aren't that. And finally, here we are, all of those things being disproven one by one. And the league is still like, no, we still want y'all to be at this tiny percentage of everything. And it's extremely frustrating because they're not budging on it. They're really not. And it's every meeting that we have with the Players Association and every meeting that we have, more players are hopping on because I think the deadline is in 4 days. So like we're not getting to an agreement in 4 days, but more players are like, oh, this might really this is not good. And I think the momentum is in our favor. I think we are building more leverage. I think that we're all on a united front. And I remember our last CBA negotiations was it was not like this. So, I mean, it's good for us because I think we do have a lot of people on our side, a lot of people supporting us. A lot of people are now really are not being as dense about it. Like you still have the random trolls who are like, your league doesn't make any money, da da da. But I really do feel like now people are really, when you get into the numbers and all the money that is about to be inserted into the league with that, especially with the media rights deal, I think now that people are now really just thinking about that in totality, I think more people are starting to understand oh yeah, no, they're being really underpaid. And again, we're not trying to get paid the same amount of money. It's percentages, guys, piece of the pie. That's all we want. And I think they're budging a little bit, but that revenue sharing, it's just, they're not coming up off that. And it's been extremely, the funny thing is, it's so crazy.
It's not a salary number that you guys are asking for where it's I want to get paid this. I want to get paid what NBA players are getting paid. It's a revenue share. It's a percentage, which I find interesting because I always hear WNBA players reiterating that you guys don't want to get paid exactly what they're getting paid. You want to get paid your fair share, just like they're getting paid their fair share. So why if it's possible with the NBA, with the guys, to give them the percentage that they deserve, with the WNBA, what's the excuse? Is it like because the percentage is smaller? Because that doesn't really apply because it's a percentage. So no matter what the number is, the percentage, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It correlates. Like if our revenue is smaller, our percentage will be smaller. So what are they trying to say? Y'all are worth less than them in a percentage?
That's exactly what they're saying.
Me.
That's exactly what they're saying. And I mean, I think our makeup financially is definitely is way more complex than the NBA because, we have owners. We have owners like, Vegas and New York have like their owners, and we have like ownership groups, and you still have teams that are owned by the NBA owners. So it's like there's so many different owners with different mentalities about their team that they own and their expectations of the team that they own. And I feel that's where the issue really is. Like we always say, like everyone is just pointing their fingers. Oh, Kathy this, Kathy that, Kathy that. It's the owners of the teams. That's who she's talking to. That's who she is the figurehead for, is the owners. So, our owners, they have told us, and as many words as they could that, we're advocating for you guys at these conversations. Like they didn't flat out say, oh, we are asking for this, but they told us like, yeah, no, we are on the right side of this when it comes to ownership. And I believe them. And our Seattle Storm owners, I mean, they're amazing. They're great. But then you probably have like some other owners who are like, no, I'm not trying to this is my little tax write-off. This is my little whatever. This is my little, I don't care about this.
What do you own?
Then what do you own a team for? Exactly. So I just feel like I wish I could be a fly on the wall in these meetings with the owners and to see like what they're talking about, where their disagreements are, where their issues are with the revenue sharing. Like I would love to know what those conversations are like, because I feel like from what, owners, the Vegas owners are saying, what the Liberty owners do and say, our owners do and say, they feel very strongly about advocating for the players, investing in their players. So I'm like, obviously there's some owners out there that feel the opposite. And I want to know which owners they are. But we'll never hear from them in public. We're never going to know who they are.
We only hear from like a Mark Davis. It's like, oh yeah, I'll make her the highest paid coach of the W tomorrow, whatever. Like we only hear from those coaches. Yeah. But from those owners. Speaking of coaches though, let's move on to, we just mentioned Sandy getting fired and how it was such a shock from the Liberty. Well, she is moving on to start her own thing in Toronto, which is sick. Mm-hmm. She's going to be the head coach of the Toronto Tempo. Lexie, what is your reaction to that?
I was honestly a little surprised because I did feel like the league was, kind of done. I don't like saying recycling because that sounds kind of rude, but I felt like, they were just trying to continue to bring new faces into the league. But she's a proven winner, WNBA champion. She's the head coach of the Australian national team that always does really well in the Olympics and all of their events overseas. So I think, it's a good fit, especially in Toronto. I think we're going to see another, Valkyrie situation as far as foreign talent coming from Europe, maybe she'll bring some more of her Australian players over because there's a lot of really good basketball players in Australia that I'm sure none of you guys know anything about. So I'm excited to see what she does with that team. I think she has had her fair share of superstars. She's been very blessed with her rosters throughout her WNBA coaching career. She got to coach Diana, she got to coach BG, she got to coach Lauren Jackson in Australia and here. She got to coach Stewie, JJ, Sabrina. Like she's coached the best of the best. So I wonder if she's gonna continue to lean on that, what she knows, having these mega stars in the W and, continuing to be successful, or if she's gonna go, all in on new faces like the Valkyries did. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what she does with that roster. I'm really excited for the Toronto team. I'm really excited to play in Toronto. I'm excited to maybe Drake pull up to a game.
I was just about to say that.
I would love that. But I think she's going to...
You already know Drake.
I
can promise you Drake is going to pull up to a... That's the most Drake thing. First of all,
he hasn't even come to any since Skylar first got in the league. I'm pretty sure.
We only really see Drake on the men's side at Raptors games. Mm-hmm. Like since Take Care of Drake, we don't really see him at other sporting events.
We don't really see him at all. I know we're not talking about Drake right now, but like now that I'm thinking about it, we don't really see him at all ever. anymore.
Hey, but when we do see him, it's
at
typically
a
at a Raptors game.
At a Raptors game being obnoxious.
So I could so see him going to a tempo game. That sounds like him. If he doesn't, I'll be really disappointed.
Me too. And it takes a lot for me to be disappointed in Drake. A lot. a lot. But if he doesn't show up to one, this is personal. If he doesn't show up to one tempo game, I'm going to have beef. We're going to have beef.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he will. He wanted to start a WNBA team in Toronto. Like, before people were, it was cool to be talking about the W.
Yeah.
So hopefully he does.
Hopefully he does.
Us Drake apologists.
Yeah. Yep.
But I do think my reaction for Sandy is it will be interesting to see the criticism of her. It's so funny how I always get to be a bad cop because I'm not in the W, so I can say whatever.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see. The fan reaction to her firing was very much, ooh, shocking, but also what can she do when she's not coaching stars like the ones you just mentioned? And so this feels to me like a bit of a Hail Mary in a sense, and a bit of a, okay, let's see what you can do. Like you said, you thought you were done with the recycling. This kind of feels like if you mess this up, this is kind of
this is your last
for being a head coach of the WNBA.
Yeah, it's your last.
Yeah,
try,
so
Sandy.
I would be interested to see. She has an opportunity to get a lot of those stars out there to Toronto, especially with it being a new team and the Drake of it all and everything we were just saying. It'll be a great franchise with a lot of fans. You have a whole country behind you.
Yeah.
And they love women's basketball there. I don't know if you remember when the W did the game there. Were you playing in that?
I was in attendance. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, because I could have swore I remember talking about this.
I played when I was on the Sparks. We had a preseason game, and then this past year during this, we had a regular season game. So I've been to both. I've been to two WNBA Canada games, and they were both super fun, packed arena, very exciting. So I think Toronto is gonna be super lit. I don't know. Valkyrie set the bar very high for expansion team fandom.
I think Toronto will. I think Toronto will exceed it. It's a whole country. It's a whole country with only one team.
That is true. But again, like the Valkyrie, they set this. That bar is high. That bar is high, honey.
The other day, I peeped into the World Series. Don't worry, ladies. I know this is relevant. This is relevant, my W fans. So the other day, I peeked into a World Series game, baseball.
Oh, Toronto's in it, right?
Toronto is in it. And I was like, oh my God. The fans they stood up. Do you know how long a baseball game is?
10 hours.
Even the people in the front row, right behind the pitcher were standing up. They did not sit down the whole
Did they win?
time. And they won. And my boyfriend was like, it's because they have a whole country behind them. Like the Toronto Blue Jays fans, like they do not play. It's going to be the same thing. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I'm with you then. Okay. Shout out to the Toronto Tempo, Sandy. I wish you the best, girl. Because she's a good coach. But I do think this season tested her abilities a bit as far as being able to coach without her megastar. So I'm very interested to see if she continues to lean into her megastar approach, or if she's like, you know what, I'm going to show y'all I can coach, okay? So we're going to get maybe one megastar, or maybe a bunch of regular stars and win some games.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If there was a coach, and again, something I can say that Lexie can't, if there was a coach based on being on social that y'all wanted to go, it was in Dallas. Yeah. I mean, the fans, I felt so bad for him.
So did I.
The memes were crazy. The fans were crazy. I couldn't imagine.
It was nasty. I've never seen that before. And I know Chris because he was with me in Connecticut and he was with me in LA for a little bit. He's such a sweet man. Oh, and I know like that was so hard for him. Like he's literally the sweetest man. But again,
that makes me sad.
It made me sad. And like, it's okay. Like, yeah, was he a good coach? Not really. That's fine. That was very obvious. But like the things that people were saying, how everyone was acting, like it was so like it was nuts. And I actually was very surprised that he got fired. I really was very shocked that he got fired. But like there wasn't very many reasons why he shouldn't have gotten fired. But First year.
Why drag it on?
Yeah, I know. It was just, yeah. It was.
He got the Darvin Ham treatment. You said you've never seen that before.
Not in the W.
Bad.
Yeah, not in the W. But yes,
I'm telling you, y'all getting into the the coaching carousel.
Hey, man, I'm like, Chris, I don't know if he'll see another. I don't even know if he'll want to be a head coach in the W ever again. Like, I wouldn't either. But I think that I was, again, very shocked that they pulled the plug that quickly, considering how young that team was and they were dealing with injuries and just a lot of moving pieces. I was just like, wrap this season up for them, because that was the trades, the getting Nalissa and Deej, losing Nalissa and Deej 5 minutes later. Like, and then it was just like, as the season continued, it was just like adding insult to injury. Like Dejanay gets to Minnesota and starts balling. Nalissa gets to Vegas, starts balling. Or she was in Indy, then she was in Dallas, wins a championship. And then everyone looking at Dallas like, what are y'all doing over there? So
it doesn't help that they had the Paige Becker's microscope on them, because her fans don't play at all. And they're very used to seeing her win and thrive. And not that she wasn't thriving, but they're used to seeing her win.
That's probably the most games she's probably lost more games this summer than in her entire life.
Right. So I don't think the Paige Becker's army was ready for that.
Oh no.
Enrique, like there were people, they had some fans that were not trying to see them lose, which obviously we talk about this all the time. The team with the number one pick is never going to be the best team in the league. I mean, Caitlin Clark was on some wizardry other stuff, but it's very rare that they go to the playoffs. Like, they got the number one pick because they were bad, you know? But it was unfortunate. But I will say, speaking of Paige, Jose Fernandez, he's friends with Gino, which tampering? Is there such thing as coach tampering?
Coach tampering? Probably. I mean, I know Gino was up in stores like, my poor Paige. Y'all are not doing my girl like this any longer. I'm sending in my recommendation for a coach, and you're gonna hire him. That's how that coaching search went. Gino wrote a letter to the Dallas Wings, and he said, "Here's his resume. Here's who's gonna coach Paige. Here's what's gonna make Dallas great. Here you go," and hire him.
And the resume said Gino Auriemma's homeboy, and that's all they needed to know.
Because one thing about Gino, he does not play about Paige. He does not play about Paige. And the chance that Fudd could end up in Dallas, depending on how the lottery goes, how her season goes, like, we might have a little UConn link up down in Dallas.
That'd be insane.
Down in Dallas. I mean, low-key, every team got like a mini UConn link up. It's actually insane. If you go down the rosters, every team has like 2-3 UConn players on it, minimum.
Right.
Like,
that's royalty.
It's crazy. If you come from UConn, you're going to meet up with another Husky on your team at some point in your life. But I think that was a great hire. I think his coaching style will translate well to Paige's playing style. Again, blank slate for the most part on that team when it comes to veterans. But I hope that they keep that young group together. Who's it? Paige, Quinterly, James, and Louisa. Like, I think those four, despite their record, had a really, really solid year as rookies. So I hope that they keep those four or protect those four. We even get into that. Like, okay, guys, so yeah, you have the free agents, right? And then the teams choose to protect or not protect players from the expansion draft. So yeah, you might think that your favorite players that are still on their rookie contracts are locked in to the team that they're on. But if they don't get protected by their team, they could get scooped up by one of the new teams. So
like Kate Martin did.
Exactly. So I think that it's going to be interesting. Handpicking his players. He's known. He coached at USF, South Florida, guys, if you don't know. And he was like one of the first college coaches to start bringing in European players. And I remember because I played against USF. Courtney Williams went to USF, and I played against Courtney Williams in college, and USF was always real solid, but they always had like a few European players that were on the roster and really, really good, and always found a lot of success at USF. So he was definitely one of the first coaches to recruit overseas. So I think he's going to probably do the same thing coming here. again, I think, guys, the European players are coming. They've taken over the NBA. I don't know if they'll take over the WNBA, but I think we're going to be seeing an influx of European players, especially if these salaries go up. That's been one of the biggest reasons why they don't come over here, is because you don't make enough money, especially as a rookie, like them leaving their home for that many years, missing out on overseas money to make the little rookie contracts. Like none of them are really trying to do that. So I think when our salaries go up, we're going to see like an enormous influx of European players, which makes me excited. Like I said, I don't duck smoke. I'm ready for the Euros. I'm ready for them. We ready for y'all. It's exciting. It's really going to make the WNBA a global sport. I think that's our next step, like becoming more global. That's how the NBA is now.
That's a huge opportunity for the W viewership wise as well, because of that market for women's basketball overseas, that tapping into those overseas fans would be really incredible.
Yeah.
My question about Jose Fernandez is, do you believe that college coaches, their coaching style translates well into the pros? Because I know a lot of fans want to see those icons from college, like a Gino or a Dawn, coach professionally. How do you think that their abilities as far as being a college coach translates to being in a system like the WNBA?
I'm trying to think, because Kurt coached in college before he came to the pros. And I think it really depends on the person. I think it depends on the coach. I think the biggest difference between college and pros is that you are coaching grown adults and not kids at school and on a schedule, and you can't tell everybody what to do all the time. And you do have to be careful how you speak to this player and how you speak to that player, because we're professionals, we're all adults, and you don't just simply fall in line like you do in college. I've always thought that's been the biggest adjustment for college coaches, because basketball is basketball. And I think his style of play is very creative. It's fast, it's innovative. I think X's and O's wise, he's going to be fine. But I think always it's just the communication and, building trust and all that kind of stuff with a bunch of grown ass people is not easy in any job. That's not easy. So I always think that's like the hardest part from a college coach, coming from, their universities where they basically, like I said, he's going to be able to like handpick, some of the players that he brings. So it is going to be a little bit similar to college, like when you're out recruiting and all that kind of stuff. So I think that will benefit him, as well as all the other new coaches that get to basically handpick their teams now. But I think he's going to be fine. And then, yeah, you mentioned his relationship he has with Gino. So I think that, I think he's probably already connected with Paige, and, they're already probably cooking some stuff up for next season. So I'm excited for Paige, because we all want to see Paige win. So watching her this season was definitely hard for her fans, I'm sure, but it was hard for, anybody who loves watching good basketball, because she's such a good player. So I hope that this is a good move for her sake, because she deserves a lot of success in the W. And the W is better when Paige is hooping and on TV, and, everyone loves watching her play. So I'm excited for Dallas. I'm excited for Paige. So yeah, I think it'll be good.
The last one we're going to talk about is the Portland Fire.
The Portland Fire. Okay. They were very quiet all summer. I was like a little concerned. I'm like, is Portland still going to have a team? Like, what is happening? And then boom, they just started making a little bit of noise.
What are your thoughts on their new hire?
So my dad actually was familiar with Alex Sarama. I don't know. I have to get these pronunciations down. But he also is coming from the NBA, which I think is really great for us because of, the modern fast-paced play that we are heading towards. And he's really big with analytics, I feel like. He is familiar with their GM. And I think that hire, a lot of people were like, what? Who is this guy? He's in skill development, Like I said, we are very behind when it comes to skill development. So I think when it comes to building an organization and a franchise from the ground up, you can always lay your foundation on skill development. And I think that's something that's going to be really interesting about the Portland team, is how he's going to take his thoughts and the way he thinks the game and what he learned from being around the NBA, and how he's going to infuse it into this new team, because it's a brand new team. They have no culture. They have no anything. it's all on him. So there's really no, no one can have any type of critique for it. There's nothing existed before he got there. So I'm really interested to see with someone that is skill development and analytic focused, hyper-focused, how they can transition into being a head coach and with a new team in a new city with all the new stuff. So I think it's going to be really exciting. I've never been to Portland before. So excited to explore a new city, even though I heard it's just like Seattle, just colder.
Yeah, I've never been to Seattle, but I would assume it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
I've been up there. But I will say the one thing I was going to bring up with all these coaching hires, just to kind of wrap this all up in a pretty little bow, is it's interesting how when you become a head coach, a lot of people don't know that you are building a whole new system. Like you're kind of the head honcho of the organization outside of the front office ownership type of standpoint, like player facing, you're creating that. You're bringing in your staff, you're bringing in a whole group. So it's interesting to see, especially with these coaches that are inheriting programs that don't exist, Philly, Detroit, Toronto, the Valkyries, like all of these new teams coming in, how these coaches are going to create a culture, because that is something that a coach that's going to coach somewhere that's already a team, like the Wings or the Liberty, those places already have fan bases. They already have culture. Whereas the Valkyries, we saw them completely 6 women created that. I can't remember what they called their home court advantage. Like they had a special name for that, but I can't remember.
Bala,
yes.
Whatever.
Like all that is new. So very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And I feel like with these new expansion teams, like I can't believe how many teams we're going to have. Like I never thought that I would be a part of the WNBA with all of these new teams and all of these cities with all of this support. Like every day I'm always so amazed at what the WNBA has grown into over the last few years. I think that every organization needs to really lock in and focus on what their identity is going to be, what their culture is going to be, how they're going to engage with their fans, how they're going to, like, everything is just bigger now. Everything needs to be more thoughtful. Everything needs to be more collaborative from the top down. Y'all already know how I feel about some of the front offices in this league. I think that now is the time where these front offices have to take their product, the players that they're bringing in, the contracts that they're giving, way more serious than what they had in the past. You know, you're building teams to win championships. Winning teams bring in more money. You get more fans. Like this is, unfortunately, turning into a big, humongous business. And, that is good for us, obviously, but it's still a sport that we all love and grew up playing. And when it becomes, big business, like a lot of things change, but you have to still try and keep the main thing, which is winning basketball games. So I do feel like with these new hires, and we'll see with, how they fill their staffs. I've always thought that former players are better assistants, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people are like, why don't more former players head coaches? Like, I think they are good head coaches as well. But when you're the head coach, like, you don't have the time to pour into every single player all the time. Like, you do have a little bit of time. Like, you make time for anything that you want to make time for. But there's so many responsibilities that the head coach has that's outside of just coaching us. That's why these assistants, these benches are so important. I feel like the way that the WNBA players are on these benches has been like game changing. I think that's why Indiana even was able to do the push that they were able. They have 2 former players on their bench. Like, the best relationships I've always had growing up were with my assistant coaches. Like, not saying I didn't have a good relationship with my head coach, but the coaches that I could talk to, the coaches that you watch film with, the coaches you get in the gym with, those are the assistants. The best assistant coaching staff I had was at Duke. Like, those are my people. Like, they changed my life, I feel like, when I was at Duke. The assistant, my head coach was amazing, Coach P. Like, love her down. But the relationship I built with the assistants, like, literally changed my life. And I feel like that gets overlooked when people are like, why aren't more former players being head coaches? They absolutely should be at some point, but I think the relationship part, the development part, their experiences is so valuable, even when they're assistants or player development or whatever, these former players are. I think that having them around, but not having all the pressure and criticism of being a head coach, I think that is way better. But again, like a Brianne January, like I don't know if she's in the running for the Liberty job, but if there is a former player that is ready to be a head coach, I would say it is Brianne January. She coached with us at AU. She was amazing. She's incredible. She was a great player, an even better person. So, if there is a former player, her or Christy Tolliver, I was able to play with Christy in LA, and that, she's my favorite player growing up. So that was just a dream come true for me. So, I think between KT and Brianne, like those would be the two former players that I would love to see become head coaches in the very, very near future. But I think what they're doing on these benches is so valuable. And I think that they get overlooked a little bit because they're just assistants. But I think, the league is full of former players on these benches, and I think they do a really good job. So I think that's really important, when these coaches and these organizations are filling their staff, if they want to, give back to the former players and have them involved. And, we're trying with the CBA to, take care of our retired players and former players. I think that is a way that the league can do it outside of just CBA stuff and pension and retirement and blah, 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 allowing them to have a space to give back to us, pour back into the game and get paid for it. That's always a bonus, doing something you love and getting paid.
Yeah. I really love what you said about the assistant coaches because it's so true. I've been a victim to that as well, like wondering why there were less former players coaching, but it makes so much sense because even in my experience playing high school sports, I look back and I'm like, that makes a really good point. And that makes a lot of sense because your head coach is kind of like the principal at school, whereas your assistant coaches are your teachers who you can like talk about your coach with, and you can be like, oh man, the coach can be bad cop and they can be good cop, and you can kind of everybody has a role.
Yeah.
But,
same thing when we keep saying like, we want our faves to be the commissioner. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No.
You want your faves to be a head coach? No, you don't. No,
and you need to hate your head coach sometimes.
Sometimes.
I'm sorry, you do.
And that's why I don't want to be a coach.
Some days.
I cannot imagine waking up every day
like,
and being like, ugh, they hate me today. I got to make them run today. Like, I've never wanted that for myself.
They'll love you when they're popping champagne in the locker room after the championship.
Speaking of championships, this is how we're going to close out the show. Out of all of these new expansion teams, which team do you think will win a championship first? If they do.
Okay, hard to say because I don't know who's coaching all of them or who's playing on all of them. I literally only know who's playing for the Valkyries. But
if you could pick one team that's going to win a chip
just
first,
based on
just off vibes,
the cities, based off of vibes. Okay, this is the first thing that pops in my head. I want to say either Toronto or Philly.
Philly? When was the last? Oh, the Eagles. I was like, when was the last time Philly even won something?
A second ago.
I'm going Valkyries. So don't prove me wrong. Don't prove me wrong.
When is Philly going to be a team? Hold on.
2020.
That might change my answer.
2030, girl.
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland is 2028. Detroit. No, because it's 5 years. The Aces might win 2 more. I don't know.
What year is Detroit?
2029.
Okay, yeah, never mind. I was about to say Detroit just to spite some people, but I'm gonna say Toronto.
Okay, so we're gonna look back on this in a few years when Canada, this is for you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we want new teams winning championships. We would love new franchises to win championships, but we want nothing but success for the WNBA as a whole. So, yeah, if you guys enjoy
and for
this,
Lexie, happy birthday, Lexie,
and success for Lexie, guys, please. You know what? Next season,
happy 31st.
Next season, first thing that we're accomplishing is getting my 1,000 points. We are like 2 buckets away. We're like two baskets away.
Yeah.
From 1,000 career points.
Game.
First game. I fucking hope. Shit. We'll see. But if y'all enjoyed this breakdown, Don't forget to subscribe. Tune into our videos weekly. This has been another episode of Full Circle Podcast. We will see y'all next week.
Bye.